Welcome to ELT series by ELT Learn. Today we are going to discuss theory of language learning, how language learning occurs and what are the theories regarding the language learning. So today's discussion will be regarding in this very. Let's move further. So especially we will discuss about the empiricism theory of language learning. Let's define the word theory. What is theory? So the word theory has been derived from the Greek word theoren. The Greek word theoren. And the theoren means to look at. It means theory is a set of principles or assumption on which a practice of an activity is based. Or theory can be regarded as a hypothesis or set of ideas about something. Theory can be regarded as a hypothesis or set of ideas about something. Theory is a coherent group of general propositions used as principle of explanation. So theory can be regarded as principle of explanation also. In short, if we sum up all the above ideas, the conclusion will be a theory is an organized explanation of how or why something happens, which is based on observation, research, and evidence. I again repeat, a theory is an organized explanation of how and why something happens. A theory gives answer of the question how and why, how or why something happened or happens, and the answer is completely based on observation, research, and evidence. So observation, research, and evidence are the most important part of a theory through which a theory stands. So this is the general idea about theory. Moving further, let's define the theory of language. What is theory of language then? As we discussed that theory is a study about how or why something happens, and its answer is based on observation and evidence. So that is the part of theory. Now let's discuss what is theory of language. A theory of language is a set of principles or assumption on which language learning is based. So in short, we can say that a set of principle or assumption on which language learning is based is a theory of language learning. Theory of language learning explains how a language learning begins and progresses. Theory of language learning addresses the following questions like what language is, how is it acquired, why does language have the properties they have, and how is language learned and acquired best. So a language theory or a theory of language answers mainly these questions, these 4 questions. What language is, how is it required, why does language have the properties they have, and how is language learned and acquired best. So if I assumption that gives answer of this question is a theory of language. Now we have 3 levels of theory of language that are philosophical level, psychological level, and linguistic level. It means the theory of language learning has been categorized in 3 different levels: philosophical level, psychological level, and linguistic level. So each levels of language theory has 2 theories. Like philosophical level of language learning theory, philosophical language learning theory has 2 theories: empiricism and rationalism. Similarly, psychological theory has behaviorism and mentalism. And at last, linguistic theory have the theories like structuralism and generativism. So the theory of language learning can be categorized as per these 3 bases: philosophical, psychological, and linguistic level. And each level of language learning theory has 2 language learning theories. Now in this video we will discuss about empiricism in detail. Let's move further. The empiricism theory of philosophical level. What is empiricism? The word empiricism is derived from a Greek word imperia. The word empiricism is derived from a Greek word imperia, and later from a Latin word experientia, which means experience and experiment. So etymologically, if we define empiricism, its definition will be, it suggests that if we define empiricism etymologically, it can be a language, it can represent that language learning takes place through experience and experiments. So if we analyze the etymological meaning of empiricism theory of language learning, it represents that language learning takes place through experience and experiments. So language learning is possible only through the experience derived from the senses or the sense organs. Whatever the experience we gain through our sense organs, or whatever the experience we gain from our sense organs, we associate them and we learn the language. So as we have discussed that empiricism theory of language learning is mainly focused on experience and experiment. Now let's discuss features of empiricism theory. So empiricism theory has these following features. Among them, the first is language learning through sensory perception. Language learning occurs through sensory perception. Whatever the data we collect from our sensory perceptions, that contributes toward the language learning. Language learning is a result of experience. Whatever we experience in environment, that leads toward language learning. And the main thing that the empiricism theory of language learning regards that a human mind at birth is tabula rasa. So a human mind at birth is a blank sheet of paper. Tabula rasa means a blank sheet of paper. So human mind at birth is a blank sheet of paper, and the paper is filled. It means the language is learned through the sensory perception and experience the child learn, and the language learning progress. Empiricism theory of language learning focuses on environmental rather than any innate power. Environmental factors highly affects the language learning process. Similarly, empiricism focuses on discovery of evidences during experience and experiments. A child experiences feels different things through its sense organs, and experiments the different ideas or different datas and collect evidence, and they associate them to learn the language. And language learning takes place after birth. According to empiricism, language learning takes place after birth. Before birth, there is no logic, or there is nothing that supports language learning. So this is one of the notion of empiricism, that language learning takes place only after birth. Empiricism discards innate language learning capacity. Empiricism theory of language learning doesn't believe that there is any innate power or innate capacity that facilitates language learning later. So empiricism believes that there is nothing innate to learn a language. The only language is learned only by the experience and experiments through sensory organs, and it is the matter of environmental factor. There is nothing in it for language learning. Now let's come how language is learned through experience and experiments according to empiricism theory of language learning. There are three steps through which, or there are three different stages through which a language is learned by a person. The first one is association. Learner creates a mental link between the words and a physical sensation or object. A child trying to learn a language first create a mental link between a word and a physical sensation or object. The child sees the physical object and hears a word and create a mental link that if it is tree, it look like this, or it has such shape. It means the tree sound has such shape in reality. So it creates a mental link, and once the link is created, the child becomes habitual to use the word. The second is reinforcement. A child experiments with sound and receives a positive response. The linguistic behavior is strengthened. If a child experiments with sounds and if he or she receives a positive response, his behavior is strengthened, becomes more strong. It means if a child speaks mama and his mother comes and carry him in her arm, and the child became happy. So if an action happens with his word, means he or she, the child, gets positive response. And if the positive response is of hurt, the child became habitual to use the word. And if there is negative response in response to his words, the child couldn't become habitual to use the word later. It means the positive response strengthens the linguistic behavior of a child. The third point is inductive learning. Learners collect a specific data from their surrounding and eventually from general rule about how language works. So a child collects a specific data from their surrounding, from the environment, and form a general rule, his own mental rule, and learns a language. It means in a surrounding, a child may listen different vocabulary, and he forms his own structure of language in his mind, and he starts using the language. So through these three ways, a language is learned according to empiricism, theory of language. So I hope the video is helpful for you. Thanks for your patience. Have a great time ahead, and for further videos, please like the video and subscribe the channel. Thank you.